This wasn't a fairy tale, this was a strategy. Meghan Markle didn't marry into the royal family the way stories are usually told, by chance, by love, by accident. She entered like a campaign, with calculated proximity, narrative awareness, and emotional precision. She didn't just find the crown, she targeted the entry point and built the version of herself that could be let in. At the time of their meeting, Meghan's career had plateaued. She had visibility but not legacy, a known face but no staying power. Hollywood offers fame but not structure. The monarchy, by contrast, offered permanence, class access, global symbolism, a narrative no agent could manufacture, and inside that structure stood a prince, emotionally fractured, publicly adored, and institutionally isolated. He wasn't just available, he was perfectly positioned. This series isn't about gossip, envy, or outrage. It's about behavior, calculated, strategic, and precise. Meghan didn't simply marry into the monarchy. She read the institution, identified its soft points, and aligned herself accordingly. This is a breakdown of how narrative design, emotional leverage, and image manipulation functioned as tools, not for entry, but for transformation. If you want noise, look elsewhere. If you want the method, stay here. Prince Harry's trauma wasn't private, it was globalized grief. At 12, he walked behind his mother's coffin, watched by millions. That image wasn't just tragic, it became branding. Harry wasn't nurtured through loss, he was packaged inside it. The monarchy never gave him space to process, it gave him photo ops and protocol. He grew into a man who carried emotional visibility, but received almost no emotional protection from the institution that demanded his performance. Harry wasn't protected, he was exposed, royal by name, undefined by purpose. No throne to shape him, no clarity of mind to shield him. Emotionally reactive, intellectually unremarkable, and flattered by attention he didn't know how to evaluate. That kind of man doesn't resist control, he invites it. Meghan didn't overpower a system. She outplayed a man who never realized he was being positioned because it felt like love, and he wasn't sharp enough to tell the difference. Harry's romantic history isn't mysterious. It's documented and consistent. Long-term partners like Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonus walked away, not because of pressure, because of him. The drama, the volatility, the arrested development. Even with title, privilege, and press coverage, they couldn't make it work. These weren't unstable women. These were stable women who saw the red flags and didn't want to build a life with someone who refused to grow. These women weren't intimidated by royalty. They were exhausted by dysfunction. Harry didn't want equals. He wanted anchors, someone to tell him who he was, someone to manage his emotions. He wasn't looking for a partner. He was waiting for a personality override. And that's what Meghan offered. Not companionship, but correction. She didn't fight the chaos, she packaged it. And that was new. Meghan didn't miss the red flags. She accepted them, but not as warnings, as leverage, the instability other women walked away from. She turned into an opening. She didn't need to fix him. She just needed to frame herself as the one who could. And he, flattered, insecure, directionless, let her. That's not manipulation, that's market timing. She didn't reinvent Harry, she redirected him into utility. When Meghan appeared, Harry was in his most chaotic cycle. Anti-press, anti-royal, drifting. She didn't meet him in strength, she met him in resentment. And she reflected it. That wasn't chemistry, that was design. She didn't push against his disillusionment. She echoed it. And in doing so, she aligned herself as an ally, not an outsider. That's not seduction, that's strategic emotional matching. It lowers defenses and builds dependency in real time. Meghan's previous relationships gave her practice. In Hollywood, charm is negotiation, identity is currency. She'd used warmth, charisma, and surface empathy before to gain access, roles, momentum. But this time, the stakes weren't auditions. The stakes were legacy, and Harry wasn't a director. He was a confused man in need of meaning. She didn't have to act. She just had to listen, repeat, validate, and reinforce his pain until he called it love. Meghan didn't stumble into royal life. She arrived curated. Her image was controlled, her behavior restrained, her charm weaponized. She played the part, smiling for cameras, praising the Queen, connecting with Charles. Nothing was improvised. It was all execution. Meghan wasn't adapting, she was auditioning, and every move she made said one thing: I understand what you want. I can give it to you, until she decided she didn't have to anymore. She wasn't just composed, she was connected. Jessica Mulroney, Trudeau circles, celebrity validation. Her network screamed legitimacy. Meghan didn't marry into power. She showed up with a portable version of it, a modern Duchess with A-list polish. The institution didn't vet her, it welcomed her because to most, she looked like the future. But to William, trained to read threats in charm, she looked like a product launch. William wasn't cold. He was informed. He'd grown up watching charisma weaponized, watching charm precede scandal. Meghan's perfection didn't convince him. It concerned him. The smiles were too measured, the empathy too timely. And when he told Harry to slow down, to look more closely, it wasn't jealousy. It was pattern recognition. But with narcissists, even mild doubt becomes betrayal. And William's caution became her declaration of war. Meghan didn't seduce Harry. She matched his trauma. She echoed his grief, his press resentment, his outsider complex. Narcissists know how to reflect emotion, not absorb it. She didn't say, I love you. She said, only I get it. And that distinction matters. Because when someone thinks you're the only person who understands them, they stop questioning you. That wasn't romance. It was positioning. Emotional monopoly disguised as connection. She framed herself not as a partner, but as a sanctuary. The world didn't understand him. The palace didn't support him. Only she listened. Only she saw. That kind of bonding isn't accidental. It's strategic. The more he trusted her, the less he needed anyone else. The fewer voices around him, the louder hers became. That's not love. That's psychological crowd control. She didn't build a relationship. She built a dependency. In private, she was supportive. In public, she was wounded. The setup was perfect. Harry became her shield, her voice, her defender. Meghan didn't just present as hurt. She mirrored Diana. And Harry, still haunted by what he couldn't protect back then, became obsessive about protecting now. Meghan's victimhood wasn't just emotional leverage, it was emotional recreation. He wasn't just defending her, he was trying to rewrite the past. And this time, he wouldn't fail.